Africa. The face and voice of Africa. The story of resurgent and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel. Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa.
India and Ethiopia share a relationship that spans more than a century, rooted in economic, diplomatic, cultural and educational ties. This historic partnership has been further strengthened by the recent visit of India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Ethiopia. In today's news edition, we place special focus on the evolving India-Ethiopia relationship and examine its growing significance for the global South. I am Gamachi Samandira. Stay tuned. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed great joy during his official visit to Ethiopia, describing the trip as both warm and productive. He praised the hospitality extended by Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and emphasized his deep affection for Ethiopia.
And from the very moment I set foot here, I have been touched by the extraordinary warmth and affection showered on me by the people of Ethiopia. The Honorable Prime Minister himself received me at the airport and drove me to the Friendship Park and museum. This evening, I had substantive discussions with the leadership on important issues. All of this has been a truly unforgettable experience.
ये सब अपने आप में एक अविस्मरणीय अनुभव है. अभी मुझे.
During the visit, Prime Minister Modi was awarded Ethiopia's highest honor, the Great Honor Nishan, which he said carried immense significance for him personally and for India as a nation.
Great honor निशान ऑफ इथियोपिया के रूप में इस देश का सर्वोच्च सम्मान प्रदान किया गया है.
Friends, I have just been conferred the great honor of Nishan of Ethiopia, the highest honor of this country. To be honored by one of the world's most ancient and rich civilizations is a matter of immense pride for me. On behalf of all the people of India, I accept this honor with utmost humility and gratitude. This honor belongs to the countless Indians who have helped shape our partnership.
यह सम्मान उन अनगिनत भारतीयों का है जिन्होंने हमारी साझेदारी को आकार दिया. 1896 के संघर्ष में सहयोग देने वाले गुजराती व्यापारी हो.
These countless Indians include Gujarati traders who extended support during the struggle of 1869, the Indian soldiers who fought for Ethiopia's liberation, and the Indian teachers and entrepreneurs who have contributed to nation building through education and investment. This honor equally belongs to every Ethiopian citizen who place their faith in India and enrich this relationship with heartfelt goodwill.
भारत पर विश्वास रखा और इस संबंध को हृदय से समृद्ध किया. आज इस अवसर पर मैं अपने मित्र.
Friends, on this occasion, I would also like to express my sincere gratitude to my friend, Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed Ali.
Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed welcomed Modi's visit, noting that India's commitment to growth, self-reliance and independence serves as an inspiring model for Ethiopia. He highlighted that Modi's leadership approach aligns closely with Ethiopia's own development philosophy, Madamar, which focuses on unity and collective progress.
Mr. Prime Minister, Your vision of self-reliant India, anchored in practical governance and broad strategic partnership, speaks directly to us. It resonates with our philosophy of Maddamar, the belief that when we act together, we multiply our strengths. Our nations draw wisdom from ancient civilizations, yet strive to build modern, capable states for the next generation. This shared outlook opens wide opportunities.
Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed further stressed that the relationship between Ethiopia and India goes beyond shared interests, pointing to the deep values and mutual respect that underpin their partnership. He affirmed that the strengthening of ties between the two countries will not only advance their bilateral cooperation but also contribute significantly to the broader vision of the Global South, enhancing collective influence in global affairs.
When Ethiopia and India advance with shared ambition, we show the world the true potential of the Global South. Progress grounded in dignity, development anchored in sovereignty, and nations shaping their own future with purpose, vision, and lasting impact. Mr. Prime Minister, your presence here strengthens that vision. On behalf of the people and government of Ethiopia, I thank you for your partnership and your friendship.
In a similar endeavor, Ethiopia and India have signed a series of key agreements aimed at strengthening cooperation in customs, digital infrastructure, and UN peacekeeping. The accords were overseen in Addis Ababa by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and his Indian counterpart Narendra Modi, who reaffirmed their commitment to building a forward-looking partnership rooted in trade, technology, security, and mutual development. Prime Minister Abiy highlighted the century-old ties between the two nations, praising India's constructive approach toward Africa and noting that it aligns with Ethiopia and the continent's broader goals.
We also appreciate your consistent message that Africa's priorities must lead the partnership. These kinds of dignified, respectful message for Africa is very important, Mr. Prime Minister. Keep pushing. That is the type of message we're expecting from all our trusted friends. This aligns fully with Ethiopia's development path, an African-owned, African-led, and African-defined. Mr. Prime Minister, today we meet with a clear focus to shape a modern partnership grounded in sovereignty, self-reliance, and practical cooperation.
He also pointed to Ethiopia's strong economic performance, attributing part of its growth to India's engagement and support.
Mr. Prime Minister, our economy, Ethiopian economy, is performing strongly. Last year, we grew 9.2%, and this year we're expecting 10.3% GDP growth. Besides GDP growth, our FDI inflow is also rising big time, and India is a leading source for our FDI. We have more than 615 Indian companies which is investing in Ethiopia. This all gives our cooperation a strong foundation of trust. I think our decision today that we elevate our historic relationship to strategic relationship is the right decision. Mr. Prime Minister, it's a great joy to have you here in Ethiopia. Thank you very much for visiting us. I hope in the next session we're going to discuss some specific issues. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister.
Prime Minister Modi echoed these sentiments, emphasizing the historical relationship and shared values of diversity and democracy between the two countries. He described India and Ethiopia as democratic powers working for peace and the welfare of humanity and pledged to further strengthen strategic ties. Modi also commended Ethiopia's commitment to deepening relations.
A clear roadmap will be prepared to realize the vast potential that lies in the future for us. Today, we have had the opportunity to discuss key aspects of our cooperation, such as economy, innovation, technology, defense, capacity building, and multilateral cooperation. I am pleased that today India has taken the decision to double the number of student scholarships for Ethiopia. Excellency, I express my deepest gratitude to you for your condolences on the terror attack in Pahalgam and for your support in our fight against terrorism.
Prime Minister Modi underscored the country's strategic importance as host of the African Union. He expressed India's support for Africa's global position, signaling a broader vision of cooperation that extends beyond bilateral relations.
The presence of the headquarters of the African Union in Ethiopia has positioned Ethiopia as the meeting point for African diplomacy. Inspired by the shared vision of an inclusive world, in 2023, India ensured that the African Union become a member of the G20. Keeping in mind all these aspects, today we are elevating India-Ethiopia relations to the level of a strategic partnership.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Ethiopia drew wide and prominent coverage across Indian, African and international media, with leading outlets portraying the trip as a turning point in India-Africa relations. In India, The Hindu, The Indian Express, Huntington Times and NDTV described the visit as a historic, emphasizing the elevation of India-Ethiopia ties, a strategic partnership and framing Ethiopia as a central pillar of India's Global South diplomacy. Indian television networks such as Doordarshan, WION and CNN News 18 focused on the signing of key agreements, including cooperation on digital infrastructure, customs and UN peacekeeping. Editorials in the Times of India highlighted India's shift away from the aid-centric engagement toward development partnerships based on technology transfer, capacity building and shared political priorities with African nations. Ethiopian state and private media outlets gave the visit extensive front page and prime-time coverage. Ethiopian Broadcasting Corporation (EBC) and Fana Broadcasting Corporate emphasized Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's role in positioning Ethiopia as India's strategic anchor in Africa. Addis Standard and the reporter Ethiopia focused on Ethiopia's diplomatic weight as host of the African Union and its growing influence within BRICS, describing the visit as validation of Ethiopia's rising global standing. Pan-African media platforms such as African News, All Africa and the Africa Report framed the visit within a broader continental context. Their coverage highlighted India's outreach to Africa as a model of South-South cooperation and noted Ethiopia's importance as a gateway to African diplomacy. Commentaries stressed that the visit reinforced African-led development and strengthened Africa's collective bargaining power in global forums. International media outlets also closely tracked the visit. Reuters, Bloomberg and Al Jazeera linked the India-Ethiopia partnership to shifting geopolitical alignments and the emergence of a multipolar world order. BBC World News and France 24 highlighted Ethiopia's role in BRICS and India's upcoming chairmanship, presenting the visit as part of a broader strategy to reshape global governance from the Global South. visual and symbolic moments from trip-dominated digital media and social platforms. Images of Prime Minister Modi receiving the Great Honor Nishan of Ethiopia were widely shared by outlets including Associated Press, AFP, CGTN, while footage of Modi and Abiy Ahmed visiting Addis Ababa Science Museum and Friendship Park was frequently cited as evidence of a strong personal rapport. Farmers at the Jalukanga irrigation scheme in Bethbridge district are expecting high maize yields this season thanks to the introduction of drip irrigation, certified seeds and modern framing technologies. The initiative, backed by government programs, is part of a wider effort to strengthen food security and boost agricultural productivity across the country. Local farmers say the shift from traditional canal systems to drip irrigation has made a significant difference as water is now directed straight to the plants, reducing waste and improving efficiency. They also highlighted that timely planting and proper weeding combined with the new system have ensured better harvests. We are assured of a good harvest from our fields and we thank the government for such support, farmers noted. Agricultural experts agree that adopting certified seeds and proper agronomic practices is key to improving yields. Agronomist Agun explained that certified seeds play a major role in determining the tonnage of farmers can achieve. Acting Bethbridge District Head for Agritechs, Douglas Nikube, added that drip irrigation is vital for food security and pledged continued collaboration with farmers to strengthen production. Government support for a scheme like Jalukanga is part of ongoing efforts to modernize agriculture, promote self-sufficiency and reduce reliance on food imports, ensuring that communities can benefit from sustainable and efficient farming practices. Moving on to business news. With less than 2 years to go before the announced launch of the eco-common currency, ECOWAS is concerned about the low level of macroeconomic convergence among its member states and is calling for urgent reforms to meet the roadmap. The ECOWAS Conference of Heads of State and Government expressed its concern on Sunday regarding the progress of macroeconomic convergence among member states less than 2 years before the planned launch of the eco single currency during its 68th ordinary session held in Abuja. West African leaders also deplored the delays in implementing certain activities planned in the roadmap for the launch of the ECO, according to the final communique of the conference chaired by Sierra Leone President Julius Maada Bio, called for appropriate economic policies. The conference instructed member states to implement appropriate economic policies, enabling them to meet the macroeconomic convergence criteria and to reach the consensus on the sensitive institutional commitments necessary for the launch of the regional single currency. The heads of state also instructed the ECOWAS Commission to reactivate the Presidential Working Group on the ECOWAS Single Currency Program and to make additional efforts to reach a consensus on sensitive and urgent issues. Despite these concerns, the conference welcomed the resilience of ECOWAS economies in 2025, characterized by an acceleration in the pace of economic growth, reduced inflationary pressures, and fiscal consolidation efforts. To consolidate these results, the leaders urged member states to continue implementing economic reforms, intensify domestic resource mobilization, and strengthen efficiency and quality of public spending. Further, the conference took note of the Council's adoption of the directive establishing the framework for public accounting within ECOWAS and instructed the Commission to support member states in its transposition into national legislation. The Eco Single Currency project, launched several years ago, aims to facilitate trade and strengthen economic integration within the ECOWAS region. However, its implementation has been repeatedly postponed due to member states' difficulties in meeting the required macroeconomic convergence criteria. Africa's coffee exports hit a record 1.18 million tons in 2025, with Ethiopia and Uganda accounting for nearly 80% of it, the International Coffee Organization (ICO) has revealed. The two East African nations dropped the surge, with Ethiopia's export climbed by 27.3%, attaining 442,200 tons, while Uganda's export rose by 29.6%, reaching to 495,600 tons, according to the report seen by the APA on Tuesday. Ethiopia's growth is attributed to strong harvests, government reforms, better export access, high global prices, and large released inventories. Strategic market engagement, including key buyers such as Germany, the US, Saudi Arabia, and China's zero-tariff policy, also fueled the expansion. The continent's strong performance stands in stark contrast to a 0.3% global decline in coffee shipments, largely due to weaker Southern American output. African producers, currently representing 11.6% of global exports, aim to increase their share to 20% by 2030, supported by initiatives in Tanzania, Kenya, and other nations to expand production and modernize auction systems. ICO data highlighted robust demand, with coffee Arabica prices surging 51% over the year, closing at $8.26 per kilogram on September 30, 2025. At the national level, several countries are advancing their own expansion strategies. In April 2025, Tanzania, Africa's third biggest coffee exporter after Uganda and Ethiopia, began developing a plan to quadruple its production by 2030. Finally, coming to sports news. Egypt fans voiced their support for Mohamed Salah on Thursday as the Liverpool forward prepares to join his national side for the Africa Cup of Nations. Salah's future at the club was thrown into doubt when he accused Liverpool of throwing him under the bus after being dropped during their dismal run of form. The Egyptian forward also said he no longer has a relationship with coach Arne Slot, leading to speculation that he may move to Saudi Arabia in January. He was subsequently left out of the Red squad for their Champions League fixture at Inter Milan, but was recalled and came off the bench to set up a goal in their 2-0 Premier League win against Brighton on Saturday. The assist saw him overtake Wayne Rooney as the player with the most goal involvement for a single club in Premier League history, with 277. Salah will now join Egypt as they attempt to win a record 8th AFCON title in Morocco. The Egyptians face Zimbabwe, South Africa, and Angola in the group stage, with their opening game on 22nd December. Let's take a look at the current forecast and what conditions to expect across the region. That's all from POA News for the hour. Thank you for joining us and stay tuned for more updates from Africa.